Welcome to Aunty K's, your favorite radical queer indigenous auntie, bringing you tarot every day. Hello everyone, and welcome to Aunty K's Tarot. So, just now arrived the final printing of the Brown Witch Lenny, the guidebook. I'm expecting in the next 7 to 9 days. So we're going, the box is fixed. It, this part is not upside down anymore. The drive-through cards box, I find them a little sturdier, and I like how the front's flapped over. Anyway, let us take a look at what it is you are going to get. So I upgraded the cardstock to linen, which makes it the tiniest bit bigger. It's basically a millimeter wider and half a millimeter taller. In switching it, all I did really was expand the border, which essentially it's unnoticeable. Basically, so that's just the extra card you get. So there is keyword cards. They're printed front and back. The guidebooks comes as a free PDF, but you're going to be able to add on a hard copy of the guidebook. It does ship separately, but it's not going to cost much. It's going to be listed at $8 or $9 American. So that I think that's reasonable. So drive-through cards calls this embossed, and what it basically comes down to is it's less plasticky than a typical linen, and the I can see the cross hatching, but it's not as thick as others. So this linen, I can feel the texture of the linen more, and I can't really feel the texture of it in this. So that is what the difference is. And I just, linen and embossed cardstocks, they hang up a little better, and I thought that was important for a deck that I use a lot. It comes with a QR code for the PDF version of the book, and you'll find a link to purchase the hard copy there too. Hopefully I remember to blur that out. All right, let us take a look. I suppose I can show you the box a little bit more. I find this helps prevent the card from sticking in the back. That happens elsewhere. The Brown Witch Lenny dresses every witch in classic attire of skirt, hat, striped stockings, and cowboy boots. 3 alternate cards: Coffin Seance, Dog Familiar, Cross Trials, 5 keywords cards, 1 double face card. There's also the QR code card, and there's also the QR code card, and 1 surprise extra, which is explained in the guidebook. And it's not for playing with the Lenormands. It's an extra. We'll get to it. I'm excited. So here we go. I do love a linen, and other than this just being finer than the typical linen, I often see, and I do see linen in different varieties of how deeply it's textured. I do quite like this. It does feel different than the MPC linen. It is definitely feels more smooth than that. I made this choice for card sturdiness and holding up, being that, you know, smaller decks, it feels like on smaller decks that the roughness of shuffling on a frequent basis, I should show folks this, shuffling on a frequent basis has a larger impact on smaller cards. So these are the first sets of alternate. You get the traditional coffin or the seance. They both have this ghosty in them. They face in different directions, which I've mentioned in the guidebook. You know, it can give you a slight change in how you read it. There are some edits in the keyword cards that I made. In the cards themselves, other than enlarging the background that millimeter, I was happy with the art and the layout, and everything was already, the alignment was already good. My first alignment happened all virtually before printing, and that was with the key insets, the playing card insets. And I got help with that from the drive-through cards folks. They have amazing customer service, both for customers and for creators. Really, truly, like, it was so easy to work with them. It felt like they saw that me producing cards with them was a benefit to them, whereas NPC, it feels like they treat you like they're doing you the favor. So this is the other alternate, dog or familiar. It's pretty much the same scene, but we're zoomed in. The cat's a lot smaller than the dog, which you can see in terms of the boot. My dog and cats happen to love my shoes. The tower was so fun for me. There's candles in each of the windows of the tower, except this one where there's a witch, and this one where there's a cat. And I made the top of the tower look like a hat. And these crazy stairs and these balconies. That was a fun card for me. In the garden. And, you know, I had a lot of fun drawing this table set where you can meet with somebody and, you know, choosing the flowers, which are flowers designed for a witch's garden, and they are henbane, mandrake, and nightshade that we have growing here. So these are the henbane, these ones are the mandrake, and this is the nightshade, a climbing nightshade variety. Mountains, there's a little Sasquatch here coming out of the trees. Crossroads, where the witch offers you a portal to go through. This was another card I had a lot of fun with. The little mice and their super curly swirly tails and their pumpkin carriage for, like, you know, missed opportunities. Opportunities that are over, that have passed. You know, hope you made the most of it. The heart. I tried enlarging the heart and jar in hand, and didn't like how it looked, so I put it back to the way it was. Yeah, I've heard folks' comments. It is witchy. It is very witchy. Of course it's witchy. But also, I think it says a lot about who the Jack of Hearts is as a person. You know, like, they're going to put their heart in a jar and hand it over to you. You know, they can be a little bit much. Where they might want to seal your heart up in a jar, especially if they can't have it. the ring where the witch is signing a contract of some kind, which is another aspect of the ring. You know, it can be marriages and engagements and contracts. As you do sign a contract when you get married. And my grimoire. So there's words on here, and here at the back of the grimoire it says, "Through the ages we rise." The pages is actually scribbles at the top where it says like spell number 362, number 364, spell number 300 or 363, spell number 364. And the letter card, which is our 7 of spades, has a communication spell written on it, and that is in the guidebook at the back, reading out full and large. Although with my glasses, I can read this. So there's that. My desire and my seeker. So I put them in club chairs to help them stand out, since the court cards have people in them and not just in the inset. So this was to help you find the two as a pair, and this helps this card be something other than just another person. It's whatever it is you're desiring. So it's the focus of the reading, and how are you going to get towards this focus of the reading. In choosing who would be the seeker and who would be the desire, I put the seeker as number 29, the Ace of Spades. This was another thing I did change. I had these details in the Ace of Spades inset, but they were smaller and I didn't notice them. So I've made them larger, and that's one of the small changes I made. So in the Norman reading and fortune telling, it's perceived that most of the time your client is a woman, and she's searching for the Ace of Spades, or the Ace of Hearts. And so I was like, all right, so that makes the seeker the Ace of Spades, and the desire, what they're seeking, the Ace of Hearts. It's hard to tell. This is more slippery than the other version. It feels like it, a little bit, but it got really banged up, so it's hard to tell. It got really banged up. And I think my final decision was when it was on a table and water spilled, and I thought I dried up all the cards, but I didn't, and some of them stuck together, and so like it actually ruined my sun card. Here we are at the sun, so cool. And I did enjoy this moon. It is the moon from the back. I contemplated putting the witch on there, but then I was like, well, it's not reversible for those who like it. I guess it's not 100% reversible anyway, but does it matter? Can you tell? Can you tell? So, the key was the other thing. I accidentally had 10 diamonds in here, so I corrected that to 8. And a little skull in the center. A skeleton key with a skull. Actually, my first job, I was trying to make things look very bony, but it visually wasn't working, so I went with this. And our fish, he's got his very fancy koi pond. Is he visiting a koi pond? Do they own this koi pond? It's a very fancy koi pond. Quite liked it. They've got like waves in their stockings. This court card, so all of them have striped stockings, and I guess this king also has stripes. They're just wavy stripes. The other two that have different stockings are the clouds and the stork. So she has little heart stockings. And he has cloud stockings. They were my favorite, the cloud stockings. I gotta say the clouds turned out one of my favorites. All right. And then we have the anchor. And the final alternate is the trials and the cross with our Witch Lenny handcuffed on trial for their beliefs, for fortune telling, for witchcraft, whatever. Then there is a double backed card. It's optional. I use them. If it comes out, whatever card goes next, I just sort of place it like this so I can see it's got that in behind there, and that card stands out as importance to me, a key part of the message. So we have a carte blanche card, and the inset is the letter, and the playing cards are up here, and there is a carte blanche spell that you do with the 7 of spades, and that is also included in the guidebook. And then, as we already mentioned, the keyword card. So since I've been using the first printing that I did, I used my alternates because that's why I created them, folks, because that's what I wanted. I put in the traditional ones for those of you who don't like using alternates or didn't like my alternate. This box was one of my favorites because I do read the fox as being witty and intelligent and maybe be a trickster, but like they're also working in 2 worlds. They're probably working 2 jobs, running 2 lives, and that can be in a romantic sense or in like a work sense, right? This often shows as a card for me as somebody who's like, they don't have the time they want to invest in a relationship. That's why they're always busy. And I thought that the witch's shadow coming out from the fox through this like gear cog portal from nature to the city, I felt it worked for both. I felt it gave both meanings there. All right. Oh, I'll take out carte blanche, and I will give myself some carte blanche and put it on my buzzer. So I cannot riffle shuffle, so that is not part of this demo. Like, yeah, I don't know how to do it. It would for anybody else. But it shuffles beautifully. The standard did too. It's just a linen's got a bit more stiffness to it, which is useful in a smaller size card and in a thinner deck, because it gets that beat up so much. And I use this deck every day that I read on the hotlines. So it got a bit beat up. You know, so I've been averaging now 15 to 20 calls a day, sometimes more. So, you know, it's not unheard of to say that I'm reading on average 10 times a day with this deck. It's become my most used. So, October to February. It feels clunkier because it's been shuffled so much. My other 2 hard-used Lenormands needed to be replaced in less than a year. That was the Reina George and the Rustic Roots. So, you know, I feel that speaks to this, so that's what happened with the water. to my son card. So I was like, all right, that makes the decision final. We are going with linen. That is not an issue with a linen cardstock. They wipe off so easily. They clean up so easily. You know, just a bit more protected that way. Oh, I turned my deck upside down. If you sit around waiting, you're going to miss your chance. So that is precisely why I'm not putting this deck on Kickstarter. I'm tired of that feeling. I love Kickstarter. I use Kickstarter as a collector, but I'm tired of that feeling. Like, if I can't afford it on this date, on this month, then I can't get it. So this will be direct to order sometime this month, and I will be ordering replacement copies for the folks who reviewed this deck. And keep your eye out for the release. It's probably going to be Valentine's Day, because that sounds lovely. It is around the time the book is due and set to arrive for me. I want to see the guidebook first before I make it all public. I believe I have to anyway. So that's what we're waiting for me to get the guidebook, and then it will be public and released, and you can all get it. And yeah, enjoy and give yourselves a blank check in this life.